Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition. In this edition, I want to talk about whether. Oh, what am I talking about? I'm talking about how to be a good teacher in the US and maybe ideas on how to be a good teacher. I'm still checking whether this is working, so just give me a second to check whether I'm on. If you can hear me online, please send a message. That way I can be able to just see that, oh, I'm on. And now how do I check? Oh, my word. Mm, that way I can be able to just see. Wow, I'm on and it's very clear and the live looks very nice. All right, so I want to talk about how to be a good teacher in the US and maybe this will help someone because the way the US works is that people have different ways of receiving. We come from different cultures, and when we come to the US we are actually going to a different culture that we are not used to. Okay, so here is a case where you have come from, let's say you've come from Kenya and you've arrived and you're talking about, oh, what can I do to make these students understand me? First of all, one of the challenges that you'll have, uh, one of the challenges that you'll have is called accent. Just just making sure that you understand each other. Like, you'll not understand what the kids are saying. Equally, the kids will not understand what you're saying. So there will be a very big gap, a very big challenge in terms of what is this kid saying. Okay. So there will be a communication barrier. Even though you think that you really, really know how to speak in English, you've had so much English being spoken, but the reason why there's a communication barrier is because these kids, you go to inner city schools, you go to schools in the rural areas, you go to schools that are really not in those upmarket places where people speak very nice, polished language, okay? They will be speaking their localized English. And that's very difficult to catch, especially if you've never had it, because we don't hear this type of English in the movies. We don't hear anybody speak it outside there. So when you come in, then they talk and they talk so fast and they say things in short form and they say, and because they're also youth or they're also Gen Z, they also talk their Gen Z language, they all mix it up. So you'll be very confused on what really is happening. Okay. The first few weeks you will be so confused, you'll wonder whether you are really, it's you or there's a problem. Now it's not you, it is just the way the things are, and you grow over it. With time you start listening, and the way language works, the brain is an amazing tool. The way the brain works is that before long you start understanding what they're saying because it keeps repeating, they keep repeating the same things, and then you're like, oh, okay, that means, oh, that means yes, that means y'all. Now when they say y'all, it means you all. Oh, when they say this, it means that. Then you start connecting the dots, and slowly you come to integrate and learn their language. Now they will also be very, very shocked on how you speak. Trust me, every new teacher, they are usually shocked on how you speak because they have never heard of your accent before. So they'll be like, wait, what did you say? And then you'll repeat yourself and they'll not know what you're talking about. And so as a teacher, I recommend that if you encounter such problems on your first day or your first week of school, please print out the main points of your lecture. Give the kids either printed versions of the main points or do a slide presentation and read the slide, so that way they can they can understand how to talk to you, and they can also know how you pronounce words. You know, if you read something and they're reading with you, they can hear what you're saying and then see what you're saying, and then they'll be like, oh, so she means the, not there. Because when you come from Kenya, we say there, but when they say the. Okay, so when you say the cat is, they mean the cat is. And then you say apple, you mean apple. And then you say goat, you mean goat. They don't pronounce the T. So such things are very difficult to catch. They are nouns, nuance. They are really difficult to catch, but they're very important. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is the community events. Community events in the US are big things. They dress out, they're clean, they come in and they like enjoying their kids' graduations, football, volleyball, basketball. They come in, and like Friday evening is a night out, and they come. All the events are in the evening. The good thing about the US is that they have gymnasiums in the schools. So all the schools have very nice facilities that people can just come in and buy food and enjoy as they watch the games. Unlike where I come from, where we when we have a football game, people just line up by the by the field, and then they just shout and enjoy, and that's it. No, these people, they come in prepared. They come with their seats. They see, they they are so organized, and it's so nice. Their football is a big thing. By the way, their football is American football. It's big, it's loud, it's the band is playing, the music is playing, and the kids are enjoying. There is the cheerleaders are singing. So that those events, I really highly recommend that you please go to the first. Like, once you get in here, you'll come in football season, or you'll come in when there is tryouts of something. Please go to those events so that you just see how their culture is. So then you start understanding the kind of child that you're going to teach in class. Okay. And because of this type of culture, the US classroom is not a quiet place. Okay. Now, if you send an, I hope if you send if you send a message, I should be able to see. So please send a message if you want to. Otherwise, I think I'm just talking to myself right now. But if I'm talking to you, then just send a message. Meanwhile, if you want to see some of my videos, because I kind of removed all my videos, and they're not removed, they're actually uh, in the section of members only. So you can just join, be a member, and then I will just, you can access all the videos. I've been doing videos. I think I have like 300 videos, and some of them are helpful. Some of them are just, I know. But hey, if you want to support me, please join, be a member, so that you can be able to see all my videos in the future. Okay. So I was saying that if you want to look at the classroom scenario, because of the way these kids are brought up, because of their community, because of their socialization, the US classroom is fairly loud. They are not quiet, like timid and just listening to the teacher. No, they are actually doing work, but they are conversing. Usually they are conversing, they're talking about something, or they're something is happening. Usually something is happening. So you will not be able to just say that, oh, this is you must be quiet and you must do your work. No, it will not happen. Instead, look for ideas that revolve around how then do I ensure that even though they are conversing, the conversation revolves around my subject. Like, how do you bring math into what happened last Sunday? How do you bring statistics into what happened in the field? Or how do you bring graduation? Because they're talking about graduation, they're talking about Beyonce performing in an arena somewhere. They're talking about, there's a rap person that is just coming to the town. How do you then marry your idea so that you're teaching and they're conversing, but they're talking about this person, and yet the knowledge is being shared across board. Okay. And these kids, the first few days in class, they're very quiet. They will not be talking. They'll study you, and then they'll start breaking boundaries. They'll start testing you. They'll start saying, "Oh, may I use the bathroom?" and things like that. Then once they know that, oh, this is what you don't do in this class, this is what you do in this class, then they'll really, really be free, and they'll start doing what they want. So many teachers find them very loud, and it's true they're loud, but it's not that they're loud. It's sorry, but they're loud because of the way they have been cultured. They've been cultured to talk, and their class can be very, very loud sometimes. Okay. So when you come in, expect that you'll have a loud class. Admin will not look at you badly. They may try and tell you, hey, put it down. But then before you get the strategies of making them quiet down, then please just make sure you know what the conversation is all about. And then there are some kids who are really, really, really vulgar. So please watch out for these kids and make sure that you know all the slang words, and like the way the kids back home can give you slang words of things that are terrible. These kids are the same. They're just as mischievous as those ones that you have. So make sure you know all the slang words, so that if they're saying them in class, then you can quickly correct them. You can be like, hey, don't say that in my class. Don't be disrespectful, or don't say that word, or I don't like those words. And, say those so that they know that, oh, this teacher knows these things. Okay. Ooh, good. Now, the third thing, am I really counting? I don't know what has happened to my throat. The third thing is how to adapt to the students' needs. Now, the difference between the US classroom and the classroom where you're coming from is that the US class has very diverse needs. They have because of the IDEA Act that kind of integrated all the types of kids into the classroom. You will find that the US class has all types of kids. There are learners with disabilities. They're just learners that able learners, and there are learners who are struggling. There are gifted learners. They are all in one space. Now, as a teacher, you might have been used to just treating learners the same way, doing one thing with the learners, and then coming back and saying, oh, we did a lesson, it went well. Now, for this case, you have to learn, how then do I ensure that all these kids are getting what they came to get in school? Like, how do you ensure that those talented learners are really pushed to the level where they feel like, oh, this teacher is very challenging? But also, how do I get to the level where this other learner who is very, very, very weak, they learn at least 1, 2. They learn how to add 2 numbers or how to subtract 2 numbers. Because you'll find that in one class where someone knows how to differentiate, like how to integrate, there is a learner who doesn't know how to add 2 negative numbers. If you give him -7 plus -8, the learner will be struggling. But the other one, if you say, what is the differentiate, if you differentiate x squared, what do you get? They will be able to tell you. So you can imagine teaching this too, which means that please do not really use lecture method as your main way of lecturing these kids. Because when you use lecture method, in as much as you'll be effective, in as much as it's one-on-one, you will be losing some of the kids. If you use lecture method, then you must be sure that everybody is on board. And how do you do this? You do this by frequently stopping, frequently asking questions, frequently looking at their notes, so that you are sure that they're actually writing what you're saying, or writing what they're understanding, or writing the correct answer. So then it's a back and forth, because let's say you want to teach what topic? Let's say you want to teach how to graph. There is this kid who already knows how to graph, and they're looking at quadratic graphs. But there's this other kid who doesn't know where the y-intercept is, or where the x-intercept is. So then you're teaching the parts of a graph for one kid, while for the other kid you're teaching them how to graph an exponential function. So you see, now it means that you're going to really, really use your time wisely. You will give this other kid some work and tell them, hey, can you try this too? While you go back to the other kid and say, let's go through graphing, let's go through the basics, or get some softwares. There are very, very good applications here that you can, integrate into your classroom. Give this kid a few problems and show him problems that require them to ask to get the y-intercepts, or the x-intercepts, or the points in a coordinate system, things like that. Just ensure that they're always doing something, and you're aware of what they're doing, so that at the end of the day, they do not say that your class doesn't do what it is supposed to do. Okay. And they're very good at passing complaints. Like if they fail, they'll always come back and say, oh, this teacher, they don't know how to teach, they did nothing, we didn't do anything in that class, while they did not really do anything because they could not catch up with what you're doing. Okay. So that's why people find teaching in the US to be very difficult. But it's not that it is difficult, it's that there is so much to get used to. There is too much to know. There is too much to adjust. And those are the things that you're supposed to talk about. Okay. Now, is it fourth or fifth? I don't know. Whatever number that is. The other thing is that the American class is emotionally draining. Okay? Emotionally draining because as a teacher, once the bell rings at 7:45 or 6:30 or whatever time you start, you are always on your toes. They do not have this time of, now you're relaxing. You're always on your toes. You're always solving a problem. You're always looking out, because anything can happen anywhere. The way these kids function, they can do anything anywhere at any time. So you're always looking at your door. Someone is going to the restroom, someone is going to guidance, someone is going to the front office, someone is going to another class because they forgot their computer. You're teaching, someone is turning in some work, someone has refused to turn in work, you're dealing with their issues. Someone's parent is calling because you have a phone in your class. The front office is calling because there's a kid who has complained that you did not put in their grade. You know, there is so much going on in a day that when you go back in the evening to your house, you're very, very tired, and you're like, okay, now I want to relax and just listen to some music, or chat with my friends, or things like that. Okay. So there is a very high, it is a very, very emotional setup. And then the other thing is that the word is called, they're very, I don't know the word, they like accountability. They're very accountable. So you have to do a lot of paperwork. For example, if something happens in your class, then there is paperwork. What happened? What were you doing? What was she doing? Then what happened? Then what happened? So that they can trace the fault. Whose fault was it? Okay. So be very attentive. Make sure you know what they're saying. If someone said something and maybe a few punches were thrown, then you have to come back, and it comes back to you. What were you doing at that time, and what did you say, and when you had this, what did you say, and who started first, and who threw the first punch? Because also for them, it's not about the fighting, it's about who threw the first punch. Now, if you're a teacher and you're looking at the board, you're writing at the board, not looking at the back. By the time you look at the back, someone has already, someone is on the floor. I'm not saying it happens often, but I'm just saying in such a situation, you're the one, you're the adult in the room. So you're the one they'll come to and ask, what happened? And then you're like, I don't know. I was writing. Anyway, that one is incompetence. So, especially if you hear them start to talk, know your kids so that you can tell that, hey, this one is annoyed. Please tell them, hey, use the restroom. Go, 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 go. Okay? Go use the restroom. Come back after 10 minutes. Come back after 5 minutes. Or send them to some other teacher and tell them, hey, take this to Mr. So and so that tell him to write for me. And then call Mr. So and so, just tell him, hey, just write something on a paper and give it back to that kid and let him bring back. Okay. That way you start kind of diffuse the tension in your room, and also you become aware. So there is a lot of emotional intelligence, a lot of psychological intelligence, a lot of human management that is required to be in the class. So don't just sit there. Don't just be one of those teachers who just come in and sit on their chair slumped there. At the end of the day, you go back home and you're like, oh, I taught. No, make sure you're involved. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is like make sure you're involved in these kids' lives. Like, involvement means, for example, on the first day of school, you ask them, oh, what do you like? And make sure you write those things down. And then, like 3 weeks later, remind them that, oh, you say that you loved dogs. So, do you have a dog? You know, like, continue a story that they told you 3 weeks ago. Then they will know that, oh, this guy listens. Okay. So just be like, oh, by the way, you told me that your dog is called, Scooby. Like, there's a kid who told me their dog is called Scooby last 2 weeks ago. So on Monday, I'll go and be like, hey, how is Scooby? Then they'll be taken like, okay, so this guy was actually listening to what I was saying. Because those are the things that create relationships. Relationships are not just created by you talking, and it's created by you listening to them, writing down what they think, and then you come back and be like, oh, I heard what you were saying, and actually I am interested in what you're saying. So talk about their pets, talk about their summer, talk about their breaks, just talk generally about what they're doing, how their games, whether they won or not. Go visit their games. When you visit their games, be one of those people who, you support them. And that is the way that you'll be able to help these kids to be one of the best in this field. Okay. Now, is it the sixth thing or the seventh thing? The last one now, because this is going to be a very long video. The last one is oh no, I will talk about certification, how to be certified as a teacher, how to get your credentials straight, how to integrate into the adapting. Okay, I'll talk about all this in another video because I don't want this to be a very long video. But please remember that I do have, like, I think about 200 videos on my members only section. If you want to be a member, if you want to support me, you can always join. Membership is only like $3, so you can always just join, pay the $3 on YouTube, and then you can access all the videos, and we can always chat, because sometimes I have live sessions on the other side. Have a great day, and you have let's meet when we meet. Okay, bye bye.